if someone went, if someone been in the Golan Heights or in the Hermon Mountain or in
Such a shy
Majdal.
little people. Come over here. He doesn't want to tell them that he's been there.
Who is talking? So, is anyone wanna share if he went to Majdal or is the first time that you hear this name of the town? Oh, hi, Rose.
My answer for you.
Hi, Tomir.
Hi, good to see you.
Good to see you too. I miss you.
Miss you too. Thank you so much for joining.
Oh, of course. I wanted to see. What time is it there?
2 a.m.
Oh, Jesus. You need to go to sleep. It's enough. It is. You need to record this. It's a lot.
So I think we're gonna
Hello,
start.
did you freeze?
I think we have enough people, and
I think Tomir froze.
It's already 2. So I'm gonna mute you. Not all of you, but yeah, you can unmute yourself if you will feel that you want to ask something. Feel free to do so. Okay, I'm gonna share with you the screen. I want to share that I chose this place, this town, from all the other places in Israel because it's very unique. First of all, it's really beautiful, very authentic, and the Druze people are amazing community. But what interesting there, I'm sure you heard about the Druze community in Israel, and the Druze community in Israel, most of them join in the army. Now in this village, it's a bit different. This is the Druze in the Golan Heights, so it's not like the rest of the Druze in the Galilee. And this is a town that is like in the border with Syria on the Hermon Mountain. Like I saw them always on on TV, a lot of reasons, and of course when I'm going to ski in the Hermon Mountain, so I'm getting like Druze pita from them right after. But it was very interesting to go there to speak with the people in this place, in this town, and unfortunately they didn't let me to record them or to take a video of them because it's very fragile, let's say. But we're gonna discuss about it, and I'm gonna show you, and I hope I will be able to make you feel like you having a tour over there in Majdal Shams in the Hermon Mountain. So we're gonna start now, and I'm gonna share with you the screen. And please, I'm gonna mute you guys. And if you feel that you need to ask something, you can ask, or even in the chat. But yeah, don't just unmute yourself and make noises because then it will be hard for us all. Okay, so we're gonna start. And thank you so much, guys, for joining us. I know that like everyone like zoom out, like in the Corona, we deep in the Corona time. But yeah, like this is something fun. So hopefully you will enjoy it. All right. So as I said, I went there just a few days ago. Actually, I went with my aunt, Sharona, her name. She is like, her job is to take groups of women to Europe. Usually she going to Istanbul, in Turkey, in other places. But then in the Corona, she stuck home, and then she said, okay, I'm gonna show them, like do these tours just in Israel, but I would take them to like interesting places in Israel. That's like you will not even feel that you're in Israel. So one of these places is Majdal Shams. So she said, like, I'm going there. You want to join me? I said, yeah, of course. And that's how I got to do it. So it was really great. We went Thursday and Friday, and it was amazing. And she was right. It's like completely different experience in Israel. So we're gonna start. So as you see,
does the name mean something?
I hope you can see my screen that I'm sharing. So Majdal Shams, it's a town that all of them are Druze, and they are a bit different than the Druze in the Galilee because most of them are Syrian region, and originally from Syria, and it's in the foothill of the Hermon mountain. So this is why you see it right now covered in snow. Of course, now,
Does the name mean something?
well,
Does the name mean something?
yes. So there is few meanings, but it's okay. Someone want to guess, because I know that some people here know Hebrew. So what Majdal Shams sounds like in Hebrew?
Migdal?
Yes, and the Shams?
Shams? Shem? Shalom?
No.
Mace Gadol Hayashams.
No. So actually, I live in a Yemenite Moshav, and in my Moshav we have, I think, like 2 or 3 like old grannies that their names is Shams, because it's like in Yemenite you call it Shams in Arabic, but in Hebrew Shams it's Shemesh,
Oh.
or the tower of the sun.
Ain't Shams University in Egypt? Is that the same thing?
Maybe like Shams, it's
Okay.
is in Arabic, it's just sun.
Okay, thanks.
In Majdal, it's very similar to Hebrew, also Migdal, a tower.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with our journey. So the Druze in Israel, this is just like a few facts. So you have over 135,000 Druze live in Israel, compared to the 14,500 who lives here in 1948. So most of them stayed in Israel, as you can see. And when the state of Israel was established. So in Israel, Druze enjoy full religious freedom. They can do whatever they want, of course. And this is also like for Christians and Muslims. We don't, we let everyone full religious freedom. Druze serves in top positions in Israel's civil service. This is for the Druze in the Galilee. And Majdal Shams, this is the Druze in the Golan Heights. And this is like Syrian Druze. So they're actually not joining the army, and we'll discuss about it. And same thing about Druze serving in the high rank positions in the IDF. That's not about those Druze. And in recent years, the numbers of Druze master degrees recipients has risen by 179%, and this is true for all of them. And this is this guy that you see. This is the traditional look of the Druze, and you see the mustache. This is like very Druze thing, and this like yarmulke, this white yarmulke. If you see Druze that he wearing this white yarmulke and have this mustache, you know he's religious. So in a Druze religion, it's very unique. If you're secular, you're not allowed to open their books or practice their religion. You're just not allowed to. If you choose to be religious, so then you have the access for to study and practice their religion, and then you have a mustache and you put this white yarmulke. So it's like a bit different than the rest of the religions. So about the town. So Majdal Shams. Does anyone wanna read and help out? A volunteer? You can just
I'll read.
go for it.
Majdal Shams is a Druze town in the southern foothills of Mount Hermon, north of the Golan Heights, also known as the capital of Golan Heights. The majority of the residents are of Syrian Druze origin. Since the June 1967 Six-Day War, the village has been governed by Israel, first under martial law, but since the adoption of the 1981 Golan Heights law under Israeli civil law, and incorporated into the Israeli system of local councils. Majdal Shams is the largest of the 4 remaining Druze Syrian communities on the Israeli side of Mount Hermon and the Golan Heights, together with Ain
And
Kinyeh, Masadeh, and Bukata.
Bukhara. Very good. Yeah.
The name Majdal Shams is of Aramaic origin, meaning Tower of Sun, possibly in reference to the town's elevation. Another hypothesis suggests that the town was originally called Majdal al-Sham, Majdal of Damascus, to distinguish it from the towns of Al-Majdal on the Mediterranean coast and Al-Majdal on the Sea of Galilee. In the main square of the village was built in 1986 by artist Hassan Khater, statue of Sultan al-Atrash, who led the Druze leader Druze uprising against the French between 1921 and 1925.
Thank you so much. This is the main square of the village, and it's actually very impressive. It's huge, and this is like the main part of the town. Yeah, so as you said, they are Syrian, all of them, and you have 4 villages, and actually I visit all of them. And if you go to the Golan Heights and you want to visit them, so I will say you can focus on Masadeh and Majdal Shams, because they have, like in Masadeh, you have a market, and in Majdal Shams, you have like, this is like you have all. Majdal Shams, I was actually very surprised. I went on Thursday. So Thursday night, I went to a hotel. It's called Snow Hotel. It's like for people that going to ski in the winter. And I was really surprised that until like 2 a.m., it was, you will hear the cars beeping. It was like traffic in the town until 2 a.m. It was crazy. And then I asked the people there in the morning, like this is like normal, like how there is like so many traffic, so many people here. Like you're in the middle of nowhere. You're like in the Golan Heights, on top of the Hermon Mountain, not on top, but in the Hermon Mountain. And I will never guess that there is so many people coming to go out to pubs and stuff, to Majdal Shams. And then they told me all these 4 villages and all the rest of the villages, Golan Heights, or even the Galilee, coming to Majdal Shams to go out. This is like the main town to go out. This is like their Tel Aviv. So it was very interesting. And yeah, they have a lot of bars, a lot of restaurants, and it's just like you have a feeling there like you are in like in a different country almost. So this was pretty cool. All right. So this is a video just that I took in the morning. So this is the town. And this is the way that leads to the Hermon Mountain, to the top, and to the ski resort. We will go inside here to have a pita and to ask them some questions. So I actually went there and asked some questions from this lady and this guy, old guy. It was very interesting talk, but they didn't let me to record them. But then when we'll have some questions after, I can tell you what we discussed about. Okay, I took another video of the. This is the Hermon Mountain. You can see the Hermon Mountain on top. Okay. So this is like a typical Druze breakfast. This is what they eat at home every morning. It's not just for us, for like people that stay in the hotel, but yeah, that's the breakfast of the hotel. It's like the next door, you go to this like authentic place, And this is the breakfast. It's not like in the hotels in America that you have, I don't know what you have there, like the Belgian, what was it? Yeah, pancakes or whatever. This is like you have the Druze pitas, you have the pita with za'atar and other stuff, fresh salad, eggs. You have there, but it's more about the labane. You have za'atar, olive oil, of course, olives. So this is like very similar, by the way, to the Israeli breakfast, but just like you have labane instead of the cheese, the Israeli cheese, and you have the Druze pitas that are delicious, actually. And this is how they make it. And Druze pita is good. I recommend to have only great food that make fun of you, and not like from a pile of pitas and not fresh. It's pretty cool. I think this is like what the most famous for their pitas. Like you have them even in malls in Israel. You can see like a Druze lady making like pitas, and usually Israelis like it with either with laban and za'atar, or the kids like it with a chocolate spread. It's like kind of like a crepe, but nice. And this is 8 in the morning. This is another place. Majdal in the bakery. Okay,
you have fresh pita with za'atar, with labane cheese, with potatoes, with sumac. And what is that? With cabbage. Simply amazing.
So actually, this is first time that I saw so many different toppings. So I know because I see it also in other like bakeries in Israel that you have the pita with the za'atar. You can see it also in Mahni Yehuda market. But first time with the sumac, with the cabbage, with the potatoes. So that was very interesting to see, and it really looked delicious. And please, if you're not mute, so mute yourself, because I can hear myself. I want to mute it. Not mute. We'll continue with our tour. Okay. Okay, this is their local market. So this is one of the most favorite things by Israelis that going to Golan Heights. Is to stop. You have it like every mile. You drive and you have these Druze people selling either the Druze pita, or if it's season. So I actually came right on the end of the season. Came to have the cherries. They have like a local honey that they produce. They have a local. By the way, can you hear me? Okay, because I hear myself. Okay. So this is how it's looked like. This is the main market. Okay, here is the local market, only on Fridays. It's only Druze. That's the last cherries for this season.
And everything that you see here, all the products are from here, from the Golan Heights. And of course, the famous Zata.
So I want to ask you guys, hi Joy. Thank you for everyone that joined us. I want to ask you, so cherries are very famous. I mean, of course you have them in DC, but cherries in Israel can grow only in high altitude, really cold in the winter. So I want to ask you if you want to guess where else in Israel they grow cherries. You can unmute yourself if you want to answer, if you think that you know the answer. So I said one place is the Golan Heights. It's actually the north of the Golan Heights and close to the Hermon Mountain. Where else in Israel they grow cherries?
Around Israel, around Jerusalem.
You said Jerusalem? No, but close. Close to Jerusalem. We want to guess.
Ma'ale Adumim?
No.
Beit Shemesh.
Ma'ale Adumim, it's already you're going to the desert.
Beit Shemesh or Modi'in.
It's lower than Jerusalem, so no. Things like higher than Jerusalem, but not in the Golan Heights, but close to Jerusalem.
Carmel,
No.
Mount Carmel. Too far.
No. It's very famous place. Come on. No, this is Steve.
It's famous.
No one, really? What is higher than Jerusalem? Close to Jerusalem, but a bit higher.
Haifa?
Someone said Efrat, I think?
Hebron.
Gush Etzion.
No, not far.
So Gush Etzion, that's that they grow cherries. So there is two places in Israel that they grow cherries. All our cherries in Israel we have from these two places. One is Gush Etzion, which is around 1,000 meters. I have no idea how much is it in how high is it in feet. But Jerusalem, it's around 800 meters. Golan Heights, it's also around 800 meters. But the north of Golan Heights in the Hermon Mountain, it's of course more. It's around 1,000 to 2,000 something. And also Gush Etzion, it's higher than Jerusalem. So sometimes Jerusalem don't get snow, but Golan Heights will get snow. The north of Golan Heights will get snow. And Gush Etzion, Hebron, this area will get snow. So this a bit of knowledge. All right, we'll continue. All right, so that was the local market with all the produce that they have. And there is another market, if it will let me to. All right, this is just another market, which is like more, like for other like you know, clothing and stuff.
Okay, this is the market, but it's less touristy. That is also only on Fridays. But this is mostly for the all the settlements, all the villages in the area of the Druze villages. So here they come in and buying their clothing, the traditional clothing, and other tchotchkes.
So I don't know if you noticed, but you see a lot of people wearing masks everywhere in the street. And as I said, I don't know if some people didn't hear, in Israel right now, the law is if you're not wearing a mask outside, you're supposed to wear a mask everywhere and in public places. And if the police will see you without a mask, you get a fine of 500 shekels. This is why everyone wearing a mask. And even if you don't put it on your nose as well, you will get a fine. So then it's like kind of like the mouse and the cat, kind of. All right. All right, who wanna help me read a bit of the history? So I was thinking if to focus only on the Israeli era, but then I said, you know what, this is like very interesting village that is started already in the Ottoman area. So maybe you will get like some more understanding of the complexity. So someone wanna read from the beginning? And you can have like someone read the one part, the other one will read something else. A volunteer.
Okay, Tomer, I'll do it, but can you make it bigger? I'll read the first two paragraphs. This is like paper.
Unfortunately, I'm not sure I can make it bigger. Oh, yeah. No, I can't.
All right, well, I'll squint. Okay, the Ottoman era. According to one version, Majdal Shams was established in 1595 by Druze warlord. No, now it's not readable. It's
El-Din, the second.
no, you can't. It's blurred. You have to go back to whatever.
If you stretch it with your fingers on your screen, you'll be able to see it, Joy.
Tomer, I can read it for you if you need it.
Okay.
Somebody else will have to read it. I can't.
According to one version, Majdal Shams was established in 1595 by Druze warlord Fakhr al-Din II in order to strengthen Druze presence in the Hermon. Another version says that the Druze families began to settle on the southern slopes of Mount Hermon in the early 18th century. By the late 19th century, Majdal Shams was an important regional center and home of the local Ottoman administrator Mudir, French mandate in independent Syria. Majdal Shams played a significant role in the Great Syrian Revolt of 1925-1927. In October 1925, a few months after Syrian Druze had begun fighting French forces in the nearby province of Jabal al-Druze, a group of the town's Druze residents looted local Christian property. Mandate authorities sent troops to restore order, and community leaders contacted the central command of the revolt for assistance defending the town against the French. During the assault, French soldiers destroyed much of Majdal Shams and killed approximately 80 residents of the town. During the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, Abdul Salah son Sultan formed a militia of 300 local men. The militia offered to serve as paid mercenaries for Zionist forces, but later volunteered with Palestinian and Arab forces. One more.
Someone else want to read the Israeli era?
I'll read it.
Okay.
Since the June 1967 Six-Day War, Majdal Shams has been under Israeli control. As Israel and Syria fortified the ceasefire line, which ran along the eastern edge of Majdal Shams, the community was isolated from the rest of Syria. Many residents were separated from their relatives living or working in Syrian-controlled territory, as many as 50% from at least one sibling, parent, or child. Majdal Shams retained close ties to Syria. Residents frequently gathered at the eastern edge of the village with bullhorns to shout messages to friends and relatives on the Syrian side of the ceasefire line. Through the 1970s and often later, many households refused to pay taxes to the State of Israel. In 1981, when the Israeli Knesset formally extended Israeli law to the Golan Heights and offered Israeli citizenship to residents of Majdal Shams, the community staged a 19-week general strike in protest. Although Israeli troops blockaded the town and attempted to force residents to accept citizen identification cards, The protesters succeeded in convincing the state to classify members of the community as non-citizens. Residents retained the right to apply for Israeli citizenship individually. During the 1970s, a few residents of Majdal Shams received permission to cross the ceasefire line into Syrian-controlled territory, either to rejoin relatives or attend university in Damascus. During the 1990s, large numbers of residents began to receive permission to cross the ceasefire line to conduct religious pilgrimages or attend university. A small number of women also applied to cross the ceasefire line and marry Syrian men. This crossing program was the subject of the film, The Syrian Bride.
Yeah, I don't know if someone watched this movie, but it's a great movie. And actually I went also to this place, the Shouting Hill. So I will show you a video from there as well. But you see all these points that they don't want, they resisted to take, they accept the citizenship and all of those things. This is why they're always on the news. They still, it's very interesting. This is why, by the way, they didn't let me to record them, because again, it's very, very sensitive subject. And I can understand that, and we will talk about it later. What you see here in the picture, this is a picture from, like very early, I guess like 70s, I guess, early 70s, or even before, that you see Druze people came to the kibbutz and like seeing the tractor. They didn't have tractor until then. They used, I guess, like donkeys and horses, and that's the first time that like they're impressed by the tractor. And after this, they got their own tractors. And when I went to visit there, I saw these type of tractors, the old one. Like my grandpa have this, but it's not working anymore. It's like really old version, the small ones. They're like everywhere in their villages. So this is like a really cool picture. And we'll continue. So this is the Shouting Hill. I said in the video that is like the northest place in Israel. That is not true actually. It's just like very close to the border, because like, I guess the Hama Mountain it's more north. But over there you can see, I think it's a base. I'm not sure because I saw a lot of Syrian flags over there. But this is the place that you will see in the movie that we just mentioned. And yeah, I'm talking about it in the video. So let's hear it.
Okay, so here, this is the northest place in Israel, the northest spot in the village. This is Majdal Shams. You can see it also on the mountain, on the Hemal mountain. And this is the border with Syria. And over there, see, they used to come here. And they used to, the wives or the family from the other side of the border in Syria were standing over there on top of the hill where you see, right there where you see this place with the flags. And they were like, talking to each other with yelling. It's called in Hebrew Givat HaTzeakot. It's called Givat HaTzeakot, and of course now it's like, I think like since like 2000.
So,
before, I don't know, like since WhatsApp got to a place and people like can message to each other and have video chat. So
what I'm saying there, I just don't remember the year. I just spoke with the people before, and they told me that people used to come. So the people that you saw over there, they actually, the parents brought their kids just to show them what they used to do. They don't do it anymore because now we have WhatsApp and you can do video chat. But before the WhatsApp time, so it's not that long time ago, they used to come here everyone in the 4 villages, but mostly in Majdal Shams, all of them, or most of them, have families, either brother or sister or siblings in Syria still. So they were like, and they were marrying each other. So Israel let it happen. But then like what's happened, like you want to get to know your Syrian bride, right? So then like they used to just yell to each other across the border. This is why they did this movie. So that place is not active anymore. People are not coming here to shout anymore. But right now it's still called Givat HaTzeakot, and still people coming here to see this like really interesting place. But it's just amazing to be like right on the border with Syria with everything that's happening there. Yeah. So this is not that long time ago. This is a video from 2015. This is when everything happened, like all the war happened in Syria, which actually I think still happening yeah. So you're gonna watch it. You will not see any Israeli flag, and you will see a lot of Syrian flags, and we can have a discussion about it up there. So what we saw here, this is the old generation that, you know, still remember the life in Syria, and you can, like, as you can see here, most of them are religious, and this is like the more important people in the village. You can see they're with the traditional clothing. When I spoke to them in the street, they told me that they're still loyal to Syria. They don't want the Israeli ID and so on. And this is because they believe that the Golan Heights, it's occupied land, but they talking like this, and that's what I was understanding between the lines. They talking like this because they really scared that Israel will give back the Golan Heights, and then they will be screwed. So, you know, they don't scared from Israel. They know that they can be in this weird situation that they're not accepting the Israeli like ID, they still getting completely equal rights from Israel. I think now they paying tax, but still they don't want to show loyalty. They will not join the army. They're not like the Druze in the Galilee. They will not accept the Israeli citizenship. And this is because they're really scared that one day Israel will want to have peace with Syria and it will give back the Golan Heights, and then they will not they will not have place to go. Like Syria will not accept them. In Syria, if you betray their loyalty, in Druze, it's all about loyalty. So then they will not have a place to go. So they're saying, okay, so we'll not have the Israeli ID. So what? Israel will not do anything to us. But it's better to stay that way than one day we're left with nothing. So this is like very weird situation. And you see all these like flags and stuff. As the Israeli, when I was always like watching it in the TV, this is happened in 2015. ISIS, with everything that happened with ISIS, you will think to yourself like, why they still doing it? Like you understand it before when we talked about maybe to give back the Golan Heights, but now with everything that happened with Syria, with ISIS, even in the left, people understand that will not bring back the Golan Heights. That's something that everyone in Israel understands it's not gonna happen. But they still prefer to remain with this status quo. But this is the old people. And when I spoke with the younger generation, with my age, that's a completely different story. You will hear from them how they proud to be Israeli. They listen to Israeli singers. They're more secular. You see them like the girls wearing exactly the same fashion as the Israelis in Tel Aviv. So it's kind of weird, like to be in kind of like Arab village, even though it's Druze. But you see girls with like shorts and just like weird. But yeah, like they're more modern and they're more proud to be Israeli. And they're saying, listen, it's just like this because of our religious people and the old people, but we already think differently. We want our future together with Israel. That's what I got from my discussions that I had over there. And there is an interview that I saw on the internet. So she also saying the same things.
And from Arab Idol, we're back here with Brief Encounters, a look at the people, the diversity, the personal stories that make up this region behind all the conflict and the politics. Leah Bal is bringing us a story tonight out of Israel's Druze community. Hi, Leah.
Hi, Nurit. So this is actually a very interesting story because it deals with the complicated subject of identity, which in this region we all know can be so vast and so diverse. So let's go to the north of Israel to a community called Majdal Shams. It is a Druze village with a population of about 10,000 people. And what makes it so interesting is actually its location. It is located just along the border with Syria. And before 1967, it was actually a part of Syria until, of course, the Six-Day War when it became a part of Israel. So as you can imagine, the people in this community have a rather complicated identity. And without revealing too much, I'm just going to tell you that the character we're going to meet is Noor Shufi. She's a 25-year-old Druze woman from this community, and she represents the young generation of Druze. Let's have a listen at how she defines herself.
My name is Noor. I'm 25 years old. I was born here in Majdal Shams in the Golan Heights. This is my husband, Walid, my mother-in-law, and the sister, Yasmin, the sister of my husband. I have also a daughter. I'm a new mother named Emma. And this is how we used to sit every day to drink mate together. We have a value for the family, also for the family gathering. I do this with my parents-in-law and also with my parents. This is our normal daily life. This is the hospitality that our parents teach us how to make for any person who come here to visit.
It's an integral part of the community,
Yes.
right? What does it mean for you to be a Druze person? What does that identity mean?
I was born here in the occupied Golan Heights. I never experienced Syria before, and I will not, because I'm not allowed to go there. I know my roots are Syrian, and I consider myself as a Syrian. I don't have a citizenship. It's written in my identity that it is undefined. So it's like I don't have a homeland. Today, let's say it's approximately about 10,000 people in Majdal Shams.
You wouldn't see an Israeli flag here.
No. The Druze have loyalty to the land they are living in. Here, it's a bit complicated because they have their loyalty to the homeland Syria, and they still consider themselves as Syrians and belong to Syria. So it's a bit complicated for all the young people here. They were born with no citizenship, and they were losing or searching for a real identity. But the Druze of the Galilee who was born here and have an Israeli citizenship, they must be also loyal to Israel. They serve in the armies, and even they have a very high, let's say, they are all officers,
and that would never be the case in your community, right?
No, here we will not. And even though you find the young people, the new age, are proud of not holding a weapon and fighting. This is the new, let's say, identity, which is kind of the young people are building for themselves. The most important thing for the Druze in the Golan Heights is to stay in the land. They will never leave their houses. They will never leave their home. And also, they will never leave the trees. Each family here own land, own orchards, and we plant cherries and apples. We sell tons of tons each year. And this is amazing. I will never leave the tree that my grandparents just plant and take care of.
An amazing woman, so a disputed part of the world, divided identities, and it seems like a sort of clash of the new generation with tradition.
That's true, Nurit. And as I was watching this video, I thought to myself, the people in this region seem so mature and so wise, and it's because of the intensity of this region, the history of this region, and the tradition that they are thinking about.
And grew up fast here.
That's right.
And incidentally, Majdal Shams also has the best cherries and the best coffee and some of the best desserts, I think we can say. So they have, she's right about all of that. Leah Balas, thanks very much for this.
So as you see, very interesting. And of course, she didn't actually say, as I said, like when I spoke with the young generation, without a camera, without anything, so then they actually, like they say, we actually proud to be Israelis, but we cannot say it yet out loud because of the old generation and because of the religious people, because this is what they believe right now. This is the line that they draw, that we still need to be loyal to Syria, because you don't know what will be what will lead the next day. But they believe that in the future it's going to change, because they believe that Israel will not going to give back the Golan Heights, and then they will be able to be loyal to Israel completely. But right now it's still weird. Let's call it that way. This is a video that I took, actually. I'm going to show you right now. It's in one of the villages. I don't know. I think it's in Kenya. one of the 4 villages. They have really old houses there. And one of the houses that the family made into like kind of a museum. I don't know if you can call it a museum, but it's pretty cool. And yeah, let's watch it and then we can have some questions and conclude with it.
This is a very small local museum that someone opened in his backyard. And this is all authentic stuff that they use for the culture, for the Druze culture. This is a storage for wheat. This is how we separate the wheat from to get a grain. This is how they make. This is the saj. They make the Druze pitas. This is the lamb, a light. And this is like authentic house from like the 19th century. One of the oldest houses in the Golan Heights. This is the clothing. Look at the roof, the ceiling, crazy.
אבל הוא כבר לא רוצה.
הוא לא עניין של לא רוצה, הוא גם מגיע לו גם להקפיד כמו שכולם מקפידים בינתיים.
לא, זה בסדר גמור.
כן, אז...
לא, השאלה אם אחרי הקורונה הוא חוזר.
מה אתה יכול לספר לי עליו?
זה התמונה של השייך הרוחני, שייך אמין טריף, זכרונו לברכה. ועכשיו מי שהחליף את השייך אמין טריף זה שייך מואפק טריף, זה בירושה כזה, זה אחד הנכדים שלו. עכשיו אנחנו רואים פה כל הסוסים עם הצבעים. אותם צבעים זה של הדגל הדרוזי. וכל צבע הוא מסמל משהו אחר בעדה הדרוזית, זה כמעט הבסיס של העדה שלנו. הצבעים, 5 הצבעים האלה. לזה יש הסבר ארוך וממש ממש מעניין, אנחנו לא ניכנס לזה ב2 דקות. עכשיו, חוץ מהדגל יש לנו גם את הסמל שזה הכוכב של 5 הצדדים, מה שאתה רואה.
לגמרי עם 5 צבעים.
5 צבעים וצדדים כאלה.
So this is the very famous chef and the leader, like spiritual leader of the Druze, and he already passed away. And every color of this horses, you can see the star. It's also it's the colors of the flag, the Druze flag, and it's like the foundations of this religion. And there's like a long explanation about it. Just amazing. Everything here is authentic.
סגנון זה, את לא יכולה לראות כל דרוזי בכל העולם המטוס.
All right, let's stop the share and I want to hear what do you think. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you have questions, because as I said, this is like very, very interesting and you can unmute yourself and you can ask questions. This is like for us, for Israelis, we still, as I said, confused about it. Before everything that happened with ISIS, so we did understood why they keep loyal to Syria, because all the discussion about peace and maybe to give back the Golan Heights, but after what happened with ISIS, so that changed and everyone understands in Israel that we're not gonna give back the Golan Heights. So then people saying, so why just believe us, we're not gonna give it. We don't want to suicide. We don't want ISIS in the Golan Heights. So you can become loyal to Israel because there is no way we'll give back the Golan Heights. But they choose right now to stay loyal to Assad and Syria. So that's the situation right now. So if you have questions, I have some conversations with them. So I'm not Druze, but maybe I can answer if I
have a question.
Yeah.
So you have different Druze communities in Israel. Do they intermingle, interdate, intermarry among their different Druze communities? Because they have different political, affiliations.
I actually asked them in general if they marry in like other even religions, like maybe marrying like someone that is Christian or Jew or Muslim. So they said, no way. For them, there's no such thing to marrying outside the Druze community. But yeah, they can marry each other with the Druze in the Galilee, even though they holding completely different I wouldn't say ideology, but like loyalty. But yeah, they marry each other, and you know what? It's actually when you go into the village, you see people that like with blue eyes and like blonde, and they're wearing, as I said, like their fashion is very modern. It's not like the Arab villages that you see in Israel. Druze are very different, and yeah, they look like some of them like your opinion. Yeah.
Then the other question is, how far back do the Druze people go back to, as far back as the Jews, to ancient times, or where do they come from?
So they told me that they're actually even older than us, than the Jews. They really believe in also in Gilgul Neshamot. What is Gilgul Neshamot? That went back in life.
Reincarnation. That's what I was asking about.
So this is one of the foundation of this religion, but it's very easy for the Druze in the Galilee to say we're loyal to Israel, not because we are the rulers, also because of religion and history things. They believe, and also the Druze in Majdal Shams, in all the region, all the Golan, in the Golan Heights, they believe they all came from Yitro. Yitro, we have a parasha about Yitro, and his daughter married Moses, married Moshe, and they feel that we actually have a tie together from like back then. So this is why the Druze that I know, like my commander in the army, my officer was Druze, and if you ask me what is your role model from the army, I will tell you this guy, even though he's not Jew, he's more Zionist from any other Jew that I know. So they really loyal to Israel, the Druze in the Galilee. The Druze in the Golan Heights is just different because of the situation that they're in. They're really scared that if one day we'll decide to give back the Golan Heights, it will be the end of them. Assad will not give them a chance. So this is why they prefer to stay in this awkward situation. Yeah. There's any other questions?
I have a question, Danny.
Yes.
If somebody from Majdal Shams wants to travel outside Israel, what kind of passport will you use?
So that's a good question. I asked them about it as well. They used Teudat Ma'avar. So where is Ellison? Ellison, your daughter and your son have Teudat Ma'avar, right? I think. Or they will have at least.
Well, no, they have visas.
Okay, I think when she will make Aliyah in the beginning until she will get the ID.
Oh, right. They get like a temporary passport.
It's like a temporary ID until they get the real ID. This is what they have. They have this temporary ID because they refuse to accept the Israeli ID. So they have this to that ma'avar, this temporary ID, which they are not Israelis yet, but they can travel with it. And so that's what they use. And I don't know about today because of what's going on with ISIS, but at least before ISIS, until before ISIS, they can go and like people that I spoke to them in my age went to the university in Syria. So they're going to study in Syria, they marry in Syrian and then going back here, or they stay in there. So they still have very deep relationship with Syria and Syrian. So that's like very unique. That's like something very unique for the Druze in the Golan Heights. Like you will not see Druze in the Galilee still have relationship with Lebanese or with Lebanon. This is not happening, but with them they have a spatial status. So,
another one, the young generation, as far as they are concerned, what about the religious commitments? I mean, do they attend the mosque? You showed before that on Friday they had a market day. I wonder, because obviously this is the rest day for the Muslims. So.
Right.
How do you explain that?
So I have, let's see if I will find it. Let me open it 1 second. I have a video that I took, but it's in Hebrew. Let me open it. You can see it. Okay, let me. I'm not gonna show you the whole video, but just like one sec.
Larry, who's at the door? Again?
At least so we can hear you. I don't know who is talking.
Oh, sorry.
1 second. I will share with you the screen for a second. If you will see it, where is it? Okay. Can you see the video? Is anyone can see the video?
No.
It's just your clips.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need to stop sharing and try again. So she's speaking in Hebrew. This is why I'm not going to show it. And we discussed exactly about what you asked, and yeah, they said that like most of the young generation are not religious, they're not interested, but they are very interested to keep the tradition. They are very interested to marry only Druze, but they said we will follow. In the end of the day, we want to be Israelis because we believe this is like the future that we want for children. We don't see ourselves Syrian, especially now with everything that happened in there with ISIS. But they don't want to forget they still have family in Syria, and they don't want to leave behind the traditions that they got from Syria, or the food, or the culture. So that they want to keep. But talking about loyalty, if you talk about the young generation, off the record, they will tell you proudly that they are Israelis, they feel themselves Israelis, they listen to Omer Adam, to Eyal Golan, to the rest of the Israeli singers, and yeah, for them, and they go, as I mentioned, for them, like Majdal Sham, this is kind of the Tel Aviv of the Golan Heights, and they're drinking, they're not supposed to drink. They're having earrings, they're not supposed to have earrings. They're wearing, let's say, not covered clothing. And this is like against their religion, but it's something like Judaism. Like Judaism more strict than people actually do. So the young generation are less
observant
than their parents. But at least what make me happy is to know that in the future, they want to stay loyal to Israel. And this is the movement. Like they understand that this is the future, and all of them speak, by the way, Hebrew fluently, and English is the second language, but most of the focus is on Hebrew, because this is in the end of the day, is the key, to success. But at home they speak in Arabic. So I encourage you, if you go next time that you will be in Israel, go to Majdal Shams, go to the Golan Heights. Golan Heights are amazing, but if you go to those villages, this is like completely different atmosphere, and I think, in my opinion, it's very unique to explore. And when you go to the Hermon Mountain, all the people that work in there are Druze, by the way, from this village. And they have amazing food, that I can say. So thank you so much that you joined me. Next week it's Tisha B'Av, but after, I hope to show you another interesting place. And this time it will be in the West Bank. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for joining. And it's good to see you all.
Thank you.
And stay safe, please.
Bye,
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for joining.
Bye.
Thank you. Ta-da!
You're more than welcome.
Be well.
Bye-bye.
Bye.